Crochet techniques. The chainless starting double crochet, left-handed. To download a guide with our 5 favorite tips to improve your crochet skills right now, visit newstitchaday.com/5crochet-tips. For this tutorial, you'll need the following materials: a crochet hook and a ball of yarn. Special thanks to our sponsor Lion Brand for providing today's yarn. Today we are using their Lion's Pride Woolspun, available exclusively at Michael's Craft Stores and lionbrand.com. In the color, Oxford Gray. Now when you begin a new row of a pattern, you often are going to do a series of chains, right? So usually for like a double crochet you'll do 3 chains like this. And that's fine, it's simple and easy to do. And this often is going to count as your first double crochet in the row. But the problem with that is you get these little gaps here because the chains don't have the same width to them as the double crochet does, right? And so you end up with sort of, it's really kind of an unsightly gap. We sort of tolerate it because that's just how things have been done. But there's actually a method of making what would be the equivalent of a double crochet at the beginning of your row without doing any chains. And we call this the chainless starting double crochet. And I actually did one over here. And you can see it does look a little bit different than the rest of the double crochets in the pattern, but it doesn't look like the chains that are here at the beginning of the row. It actually fills in that gap really nicely. The other advantage that I think this technique has is you get an actual stitch at the top of the fabric instead of a chain stitch, and so it makes it easier to work into what would be the turn chain when you're finishing the next row. Alright, so how do we do this? Well, this is what I would consider to be a more advanced technique. So it does take a little bit of practice and some patience to get right. But I think you'll be able to do it and you're definitely going to like the results. So what we're going to do is we're going to just draw this loop up a little bit, okay? You want it to be close to what the height of your double crochet is going to be, but I found as I've experimented with this that having it a little bit smaller is actually better. And if you can imagine trying to fit 2 of your crochet hooks into the loop, that's about how big you want that loop to be. So we're right about where we want on that. So for step 2, what we're going to do is, as we're holding our working yarn, I'm going to hold this real tight at the bottom so that we're not going to be continuing to pull on this. And I'm also going to hold onto this loop on the top, okay? And we kind of want to just press here to keep this in place, because as we work this loop, we're not going to be able to secure it in any way. And so this is the only way that we can keep it straight. Now if you want to change the way that you are crocheting to more of a knife hold, and that might make it easier for you as well. So as we are pressing down on this loop, we're going to bring the crochet hook towards us and back around, okay? And so we can see that we haven't really made a new loop here. We're just sort of bringing the yarn around the other side, and it's kind of just curved, if you can see that, but that's okay. For step 3, we are going to yarn over best that we can. Again, this is kind of a tricky technique. I'm going to yarn over, and we want to bring this yarn through onto the other side, okay, like so. All right, and next we're going to yarn over and we're going to draw through the 2 loops that are on our hook. And I do this real slow, come through the first one, and then I'm just going to pull this through the second one, like this. All right, and then we'll tighten this down the best that we can. And there we go. We've created our chainless starting double crochet here. And so it gives us, this one's a little bit loose, but as we continue working in the pattern, you'll notice that it looks really nice next to the other double crochets, like this. All right, so let's do this for you one more time. I'm just going to undo these. Again, we're going to draw the loop up, okay, so that we can fit about 2 of those crochet hooks in there. Okay, we're going to hold this loop down and we're going to come around the back of the stitch, and then we're going to yarn over and draw the yarn through back around. Okay, then we're going to yarn over and we're going to draw through both loops on our hook, like so. You want to try and keep that all as tight as you can, otherwise you're going to end up with a really loose starting stitch. But I think I actually did that one better than the first one. Alright, so let's take a look. Do a couple stitches here in double crochet. And we can see we've got a much nicer starting stitch here in our fabric. So that's how we do the chainless starting double crochet.
Hey, I'm Johnny Vasquez, founder of New Stitch A Day and your teacher for this tutorial. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to learn from us. If you'd like to see more videos just like this, we produce new content every single day, hence New Stitch A Day. You can click the subscribe button so that you don't miss a single stitch. And if you click one of the links to the side here, you can see the previous stitch in our series or the next stitch in our series. And if you click this link, you'll be able to see one of my favorites. And don't forget, you can also download a PDF with the written instructions for this tutorial by clicking or using the URL link that's on the screen. Again, I want to thank you so much for learning with us, and I hope that we've helped make your knitting and crochet skills a little bit better today. Yarn on!